I'm Lou.
I'm Sid.
I almost said I'm Sid, and I was like, oh,
That's
no.
my name. Stealing my name.
And we're faking Sanity.
Every day.
We run a used bookstore / yarn shop / coffee tea shop in Dawson Creek, BC, Canada.
Everything else.
Yeah.
As a small town shop, we
have a little bit of everything. We have Cindy makes chainmail stuff, and so we have her chainmail and my aromatherapy
cards.
stuff, handmade cards, handmade pottery.
Anyway, that's us.
It's a small town shop. Mostly yarn and books and snacks and teas and coffees.
But we're here now as a knitting podcast. Knitting and spinning and culture consumed podcast.
and
we have a new friend.
We have a new friend.
Okay.
We mentioned a Fibre Fest, and we have a mascot. This is Steek. He's our new alpaca mascot.
Yes.
Can I get him in frame? I need him a little pack saddle because he has to be able to hold yarn if he's a Fibre Fest mascot.
Alpaca my yarn.
Alpaca my yarn. And this is Steek.
He's very
super soft.
He's shedding.
Yes.
And I don't think this is something I would spin.
No.
But yes. So that's Steek.
That's Steek.
Okay. Get him out of the way.
Sorry, Steek. Cindy doesn't love you.
I love you, Steek. It's okay.
we hadn't planned on having a mascot, but we ran across him. And
we need a mascot for everything, apparently. It's our thing.
Also, we ran across him, and it was a great price. And I thought a Fibre Fest alpaca or sheep was irresistible once we saw one. So he'll be our Fibre Fest mascot, and he'll be there. So yeah.
Sorry, it's been so long since we podcasted.
Yeah.
It's been 4 weeks.
It was supposed to be like 1 week late. And then we were both sick. Sick and tired. And no, I'm, sick and tired. And this Sunday, it's a day or two late because we had to take her mom to the airport because she's abandoning us. She went to Florida for 2 months.
My mom goes down to Florida every year to watch the Toronto Blue Jays in spring training. So we get...
Because she's a baseball nut.
As we have, minus 35 degree weather with snow. She's sending us pictures of
palm
her balcony
trees and her balcony
the ocean,
overlooking the ocean.
Damn her. I mean, love you, Mom.
She was like, it's beautiful. It's 23 degrees. And we were like, it's minus 23 plus the wind chill, which is actually warm here. I was like, it's balmy today.
It's been a really strange winter for weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were down in the minus 40s last week. And usually when it gets that cold, it lasts for like a week and then kind of gets warm again.
It has. It's minus 25
okay, it's in the minus 25 range for the next like 3 weeks or something. And I'm like,
I don't mind minus 25.
Plus there isn't enough sunlight and I have seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah.
So, yay!
Hey, be lucky you're not in Norway. One of the bloggers I was watching,
oh, I know,
was like,
they've been having...
yay, the first sun of the year. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with total darkness that long.
It's pretty, I mean, days are short here, but they are sunny if you can get out in it. But, when we come to work, it's dark, and when we leave work, it's dark. So,
but there is sunlight, and we're thankful for
and occasionally I walk past the window and go, sunlight.
She's like a lizard sunning herself. Like, she sits in the car, and if she's waiting for something, she's like plastered to the glass. I'm like, sun. She makes that face too.
Creepy.
No.
Okay, so get on to the knitting.
Knitting, yeah. You have a whip.
Nobody has FOs this week.
No.
But we have some whips.
Because we both cast on new projects.
Yeah. And I have things that were supposed to be FOs. Oh, I gave up on the Whip Lucky Dip. I'll just say this now, because I was feeling really stressed about my knitting. I actually had a week where I didn't knit at all, which is unusual. I gotta stop playing with my pen, sorry.
I'll take it away.
Yeah. A week that I didn't knit at all, just because I was stressed by my knitting, and my knitting should be happiness. So anyway, so my first whip should have been an FO, but it's not yet. Okay. Oh,
you're so close though.
I've actually got it inside out because it's this cute little toddler hat.
Yeah. And
then it has little ear flaps that...
Wait, you got one sewn in?
No, I have it like...
Oh, tacked.
that are underneath so you can like fold up the brim and stuff. And it's very cute. And when you get to the end of the ribbing, I was supposed to do a row of just knit all the way around so that when I finished, it would be really easy to pick up and knit the ear flaps. It was impossible to pick up, so I just knit the ear flaps. And I was like, I'll just sew them on. I hate sewing things together.
Yeah.
Ow, I just hit myself in the eye.
You could just start them over here, like cast on stitches from those. Like pick them up like a thumb gusset, like a thumb.
I was trying to pick up. It's really hard to pick up in rib.
Okay.
It is. Okay. I was so frustrated. Anyway, so I really like it, but it's kind of frustrating me right now, and I really got to get it done because it's for a sweet customer.
Yeah.
But this pattern is a double rib toddler hat by Torunn Espe, and it actually had a different pattern up here or stockinette with little stripes. And I showed it last time, and I was doing stockinette and I was just doing little garter stripes because I didn't have a different color, and I didn't like it. And then I tried the pattern that it called for, and I didn't really like it. It had holes. And she was very much...
She wanted a dense
beanie. Yeah. For a toddler. So I did cables, because cables are fun.
Cables are fun, cables are cute, cables are dense and warm.
Yeah. So it's out of Louet Gems Merino Worsted, which is a great yarn. I really like it. It stands up to me.
She has sandpaper hands.
I have sandpaper hands, and it looks just as good now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and the color is marine blue.
Yeah.
So that's my first one. It's even too small for me. Bet you it would fit on Steek the alpaca.
I bet it would fit on Steek the alpaca.
So that's my first whip.
It's going to be adorable. I'm sorry you're not enjoying it though. You enjoyed the hat, just
I love
not enjoying the ear flaps.
Yeah, I even liked knitting the ear flaps. I just
hate attaching.
I'm frustrated.
Sorry.
Okay, talk about yours.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm a little frustrated with mine too. It's a lovely knit.
Yeah.
But I'm a little frustrated at myself. So this is some of my handspun Haunui, which is a New Zealand half bred that's been kind of bred separately for long enough that it's very different than most of the New Zealand half bred. I get it from Kate at Heavenly Wools, and she does the dyeing, and I love the fiber, and her dye jobs are always amazing. So this one was kind of, it was a little bit different, but I tore up the colors to use them, to spin them kind of as a gradient. So it's kind of blacky marine in the middle, which I started with, and then the darker purpley blue into the natural color of the wool. And I love it. And so I decided to knit a cowl out of it. So it's just a simple cowl with like reverse stockinette and ribbing. So this looks pretty open, partly because this yarn blooms a whole bunch when you wash it. And so I wanted it to be not too dense, but I think I might go down a needle size because I also did the math, because I'm a geek, of knowing that this uses 0.007 0.007 yards per gram.
Oh, yards per
per stitch.
Oh my goodness, you figure out how much. Oh.
So that, yeah, there's an extra zero there.
Yes.
Anyway, basically I'm going to use 75 grams at this gauge for the pattern, which means I'm going to end just before I get to that natural grayish color. So
yeah, that's silly.
I'm going to tear it out and start over from the gray, so that'll be the cast on edge rather than the cast off, and I'm going to go down a needle size, and it'll be fabulous. But yeah, so it's going to be so cozy.
What's the pattern?
It is the Copycat Cowl by Verna Glass. And
it's cute.
Yeah, and she recommends the so there's a cast on called the Chinese Waitress cast on that was kind of big in the knitting world a couple of years ago. But I was going to try it, but then I looked at like the projects on Ravelry, which I love being able to do, and realized that I actually liked it better for those that didn't do that one. So, but it's really neat. It makes like your cast on edge, instead of being
a flat fabric, it makes like a V fabric. So you've got the chains, you know, the top of a stitch when you cast off looks like V's, like a crocheted stitch, right? And this one does, it has two surfaces that go down to the fabric. So the fabric is straight this way, and the Chinese waitress cast on has like the V's going this way along the fabric and this way.
Oh.
So it's like the peak on a roof.
Oh, that's
so it's
cool.
So it's not as defined as, say, I-cord. It's not as big as that, but a little bit more than a flat bind off.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Or cast on. Yeah, and there's a bind off to match. So I think I'll try it. I just didn't love it for this because I preferred the cast off that, or bind on, cast on. The cast on that rolled in, because the nature of the cowl is that it rolls in. Yeah. So I think it'll be fabulous, but I think it'll be better once I go down a needle size and then.
Yeah.
But I love the color. Like, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of tweedy looking because I left some of the color not quite like not divided completely, the black, then the blues, then the purples. I left a little bit in, but not tons. So yeah, I'm loving it. But I have to tear it out tonight.
Yeah.
I was knitting on it today and I was like, oh no.
I just realized.
I did the math for this 2 days ago and kept knitting.
Yeah.
And didn't think about the fact that I'm not going to get to that last color, which really has to be in it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So I'll start it over. You'll see it again next time.
Cool, cool. So my next whip does not look like much.
But you're over half done.
Yeah. So it is the Just Enough Ruffles scarf by Chau.
I love her.
Yeah, I like
her patterns.
I've done this a couple times before. It's just kind of a crescent D shape.
Yeah,
like really
very thin
scarf.
Crescent that you use as a scarf.
It goes. It's a crescent scarf, not a crescent shawl.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the edge at the end, you triple the number of stitches to make this ruffle, and it's great. But I'm in the middle of short rows, so I can't even get to the end of a row to show you it.
Yeah, well, and the whole thing is basically short rows after the kind of cast on edging.
So yeah, it goes down to points at the end. It's a cute little scarf. I'm making it for my cousin's wife. And the yarn, which I love, is Fleece Artist Merino-Twin, which they don't have anymore, which makes me very sad. Because it's a great base. They have 2/6. Yeah. Which is just a thicker one, I think. I don't remember.
2/6, 2/3/6.
This is like a DK light worsted.
Yeah, and it's more of a worsted.
Yeah, and it's in Nova Scotia colorway. Yeah, which I love.
It's one of my favorites.
It's great. I've even made this pattern out of this colorway before. So, for my sister.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you made a hat for her out of that.
I made a hat, and because I had to buy 3 skeins. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm happy with that, and it's in my Liz bag.
The happy green bag.
Yeah. I haven't knit the yarn she gave me with the bag.
I haven't either. I want to find the perfect yarn for it because it's
the perfect yarn, huh?
Perfect project. It's this perfect deep red because mine was red.
Yeah. That's my second whip.
Oh, my third one.
Your second.
Second. I mean, you haven't seen in a while. I'm just trying to trick you
into
thinking I've done more knitting than I have. But I have a sweater. So this was the easy one by Locatelli. And so I finished the top and all the way down to the front, and I changed the, I'm just going to fold it in half here. I changed the edging on the bottom to be a split hem rather than, it calls for just like 5 or 6 row rib at the end. And I wanted it shorter or longer in the front and back, but also I have huge hips, so
a split works
really well. So I just did a split and then kind of angled it in.
Yeah, one of our staff has this sweater that has this kind of the curved from the split.
Oh yeah,
and it's really cute.
So that'll be it. That's kind of what it looks like on the edge there.
Yeah. So she's done the front. She just has to do the back.
Yeah. The back I should be able to finish in a couple of days.
Yeah, and then sleeves.
Yeah.
The goal is to get it done.
To be honest, sleeves, I've been in the mood for mindless knitting, and the first like half of the sleeves is pretty straight. So that will actually be fascinating for me, I think, right now, because it's what I'm in the mood for. Because it works well to watch hockey, and now that you're out of the house.
Yeah, now that I'm living at my mom's house.
House sitting for her mom while she's away, so I get full access to our internet, which means I can watch things like hockey and actually watch the puck move rather than stop motion. The puck's here, and now it's here. So, yeah. So, Hoki Locatelli, the easy one, knit out of our Faking Sanity Determination in the colorway that shall not be named, because I stole it before we named them. So Voldemort. I'm thinking of this as Voldemort.
This is Voldemort. It's a perfect Voldemort color.
Yeah. So I'm excited. It's totally going to be done for Fibre Fest. Sure. And I'm going to wear it with a t-shirt underneath.
Yeah. so
that I can take it off after 5 minutes when I overheat.
Okay, so I was really frustrated with all my knitting, as I'm sure you know, I'm sure everyone's got to that point before. I actually have a bunch of other whips as well that I'm not showing you because I haven't knit on them. But I started something new. Okay, so, oh, where is it?
It's happy knitting. Happy knitting is fun.
Well, it's happy knitting, except now I have to rip it all out. But
yeah.
Okay, so the pattern is called Inishman. It's INIS space MEAIN by Kristina Morrissey.
Oh, wow.
And it's on Knit Picks.
Yeah.
It's from, they've got this new collection that's all cabled sweaters and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is this awesome shawl.
It's epic.
Like basically it's a big rectangle that you wrap around yourself, but it's got armholes. So she calls it a poncho. It's not a poncho. It's a shawl with armholes.
If it doesn't have sleeves and it goes over your shoulders and around. It's not a poncho. But you can put your arms through. It's a little bit poncho-ish.
Okay, anyway. It's great. It's these cables. Okay, so it's got kind of 3 motifs. It's got this cable, and then it's got this set, and then it's got this big middle
I love that
section,
center panel.
And then repeats. It's fabulous. And this yarn. Okay, we got this yarn called Sugarbush Shanty.
Yeah.
And it's 75% merino and 25% linen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just lovely. And it gives that cool heathered look because the linen doesn't dye the same. Yeah. And it's a lovely yarn. Yeah. I just kind of want to wrap myself in it.
Yeah. I'm totally going to knit a sweater out of that.
I didn't take into account that linen tends to stretch this way. If I keep going on this, I am 3/4 of the way done my first ball. I have 10 balls. I would have a blanket. I would have a square, basically.
Yeah. So this in the gauge is supposed to be 24 inches.
27 and a half inches. It is a lot longer than 27 and a half inches.
It's 3 feet.
So I am adjusting as always. Yeah. I've just kind of adjusted the pattern. I'm taking out some of this to make it skinnier, and I've adjusted some of the little things here and there. I changed this edge because I didn't really like it anyway.
Basically, she's Cindying the pattern.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm hacking the pattern.
It's going to be fabulous, though.
Because I want it long. The drape will be lovely. But yeah, so basically tonight I'm going home to rip this out. Which makes me sad, but I'm really, really enjoying it. Okay, so this is how much I'm enjoying it. I really wanted to knit on it last night, but I realized I had left my cable needle at the store. And I was at my mom's house, and there is nothing in my mom's house that can be used as a cable needle, except a meat thermometer.
You cabled with a meat thermometer.
I cabled using a meat thermometer last night. It was kind of hard. It was just one of those ones that's the little metal thing with the thick on top that when you stick it in your meat, it tells you the temperature.
Yeah.
It was quite heavy on the top end, so it made for difficult cabling.
I could imagine.
But I really wanted to knit on this.
I can't believe you didn't just drive back down and pick up a cable needle.
No, I was in my pajamas. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I was in front of the TV with Dr. Blake on.
Now picture Cindy knitting with a meat thermometer hanging out of her knitting.
Yeah, and I use a cable needle apparently strangely. I slip the stitches onto it, knit my other stitches, and then I just use the cable needle to slip it back on the needles.
Yeah, you don't knit off the cable needle.
I don't ever knit off the cable needle. So I didn't need 2 pointy ends. I only needed 1 pointy end. Yeah. And like, I was like, oh, I can just use a pen, but all the pens were thicker than my needles. I looked in case she had skewers or, no.
Your mom's gonna like text you in a week and go, oh, there are skewers in this drawer.
Yeah, she probably will. I'm sure she had something somewhere, but I was frustrated and I wanted to knit and watch Dr. Blake, and so I used the meat thermometer. Now I'm gonna wash it really well.
It looks fabulous and it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. But I have to make it.
Yeah. It was like 50 stitches.
Yeah, if I kept going at this...
Too wide, you know,
well, like... if I kept going at this, I would get about 40 inches long, and it's supposed to be 68. Yeah. So... yeah. And there's supposed to be a fringe on it, but fringe is evil. So... okay. Yeah. So, yeah. It'll be lovely. That's my epic...
I want to knit a cardigan out of that.
It's a great yarn. Yeah. I'm so impressed with it.
Because linen, it's not as nice to knit with because it's so crisp to start, I find. But with a blend with wool, yeah. Well, it's not that it's not soft, it's that it's like inelastic and like fibrous.
And this is just like little pieces of it. It's not.
Yeah, it's in the spinning. It's blended in.
Yeah. So. This is the skein. This is the chimney smoke colorway. Yeah. Which I had a hard time picking a color too, but this is excellent because it's that gray, but with just that kind of hint of greeny blue in it. I think. Yeah. Maybe that's just me, but
no.
Because even in comparison to my icky hoodie, I really gotta. I gotta finish the sweater I started knitting like months ago to replace this poor hoodie.
That's what it was for.
Yes, because the other day I was wearing it and all of a sudden the zipper popped. And it's not like I stretched it or anything. It's plenty big. It just, all of a sudden the zipper decided to go.
It's like 9 years old.
Yeah, probably more than that.
I think you got it when we first moved here.
And I wear it like every day. Yeah. I love it. But yeah, and... but I gotta knit.
It's so pretty.
Gotta knit.
And all the little white flecks are the linen. So.
Yeah. And I really like, I'm not usually a tweed person. I don't like tweeds, but I like this gives it more of a heathered look.
I really like linen gets, what I was going to say is, even though I don't enjoy knitting with linen as much, in a blend it's not so bad. But also I love how it wears. Like every time you wash it, every time you dry it, it gets softer and drapier and softer and drapier and perfect for a cardigan. Loose cardigan.
Should we get in Euroflax? No. Okay. Anyway.
We could. No. Well, we'll be
placing... My nose is itchy.
We'll be placing a Louet order soon. We've decided to bring in a sample, like a wheel to have in the shop as a sample, because we're technically, we have a Louet account, we can distribute their looms and wheels and stuff. We just didn't have much space for it.
So we will have a loom as soon as she finishes putting together her loom, and a wheel, and we've got some drop spindles coming, and I've got a little loomy thing
on the horizon.
Yes, besides my loom. Yeah. But yeah. So that's whips.
I have one more.
You do? Oh, you have an FO!
I do have an FO. I totally forgot about it.
We have an FO. Well, I don't.
My FO is an alpaca pack saddle. Because once we got an alpaca, I had to knit him a pack saddle that holds yarn. So there was no pattern. I crocheted a bottom in our Briggs and Little Heritage yarn, which is a worsted weight.
Heritage for this Tuffy is the blue.
Yeah. And then I just picked up the stitches around the edge of the crocheted bottom and knit for about 1 inch. And then I just did a stitch of blue, a stitch of gray all the way around. Because I figured an alpaca colorwork blanket, or an alpaca saddle had to have colorwork. I don't know why, but I decided it did. Okay. So there are these little saddle bags, both have colorwork, and then I bound off in the blue and picked up stitches and just did a garter blanket, and then I stopped halfway and did the same thing again. And then...
You're gonna tell?
Yeah. And then grafted them together, which it's a great graft, I think. It doesn't look weird at all, despite the fact that I got from here to about here, and realized I'd cast on a different number of stitches on this bag. So there's like 3, 4 more, like several more stitches on this side.
Oh, you said 2 when you were telling me.
Yeah.
So this side is wider.
This side is wider than this one, and I noticed it. You can see the grafting sort of gets wonky. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. The grafting sort of gets wonky there, and that's because that's where I had to reuse the stitches on this side twice for every stitch on this side just to finish it, because I wasn't going to redo it, because nobody's going to see that. It's a pack saddle. You're looking at the yarn on the side.
Yeah, little mini skeins.
Yeah. So that's my FO.
It's awesome.
But it was cool. The grafting on the garter is nicer because it's the same on the front and like it's not front, front, back, back with 2 different steps for each. It's one that you repeat. So it was easier to remember. I didn't even have to look at it once I read what it was. But yeah, it helps if you have the same number of stitches on both sides.
It does, or as long as you know that you're out.
Pro tip.
If you know you're out, you can like fudge it beforehand. But no.
Yeah.
Oh, we get to talk about acquisitions now?
Okay, you'll go.
Okay, so I got some acquisitions. I ordered these. I ordered these using my Christmas Etsy gift certificate. Yeah. I got 2 gradients.
They're gorgeous.
From Wollelfe. Wollelfe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's German. It's probably
Wollelfe. They're fabulous. So I've had 2 gradients from them before. And they are sitting in my projects because I found the perfect project to do with these gradients, but I needed a gradient that would go with the gradients I had. Yeah. Because I want to do the Inara wrap. Inara wrap. It's named after the character on Firefly. And
no.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that. Now I like it even more.
And basically you start like 1 gradient at this end and 1 gradient at this end, and well, I mean, you knit from the same. Anyway, they go opposite. Yeah.
I loved Inara.
Yeah. So these are not to go together. They are to go with ones I already had. Yeah. So this one is going with one that goes from blue to green. And this one is to go with one that goes from purple to black. So I think that will be great. This one is pink tourmaline. And this one is fading to gray.
Love that.
Yeah. So the other colors I got, these ones are very bland for me. I mean, I love them.
Yeah, I love this.
But they're to go with very bright ones I already got. Yeah. So I love them.
Very cool.
They're great.
And her base is so nice.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is just the merino base.
Yeah.
And the really cool thing is that you can actually say, okay, I want this gradient on, and you can pick however long.
Yeah, like, so you can pick the length of your gradient.
This has 8 different sizes. Yeah. Yeah, and they can do this gradient on, so you can get as long as you need for your shawl or whatever. Yeah, and this is just a like 80-20, but it's a great base, and I'm really looking forward to doing that wrap, but I
might have to knit one now.
I have some things to do.
Is anybody else a big Firefly fan? Or
Firefly was
Joss Whedon
awesome.
In general? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joss Whedon, I love all his shows, or many of his shows.
Well, yeah.
Joss Whedon isn't my favorite person.
But his shows are, he's very fun.
Tuffy, Angel. I loved Wesley. I liked Wes. I loved Wes. I loved Doyle. Yeah. I liked Fred.
Fred was fun.
And, yeah. And Gunn. I liked Gunn too. But I didn't watch the last, like, 2 seasons.
Of Angel? Oh, right. That got weird.
Yeah.
It did.
Once Fred was blue, I stopped. No, I stopped before that. But anyway. Oh, when Wes got his throat cut.
Oh yeah, you were mad.
I was
Cindy gets mad at TV shows that take a turn she doesn't like.
I do get really mad at TV shows. And then I'm like, I never want to watch you again. And sometimes I come back, but often I don't.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Kill off a character you like.
Yeah. So many of my shows have killed off characters I liked. Yeah. Often, I mean, given the type of shows I watch, often they come back. But speaking of killing off characters I liked Firefly. I didn't necessarily like Serenity.
Oh, the movie.
Joss Whedon.
Okay. Yeah. I liked the show better than the movie. I'm glad they did the movie when the show got canceled, but I liked the show better.
Yes.
Because everybody loves a good space opera.
Western in space.
I loved, okay, so if you guys haven't seen it, Firefly was basically a Western in space. And guy from Edmonton.
Oh, Nathan
Fillion.
Yes.
Was Captain Mal, the main character, one of the main characters on the show. And then he plays in Castle. He plays Castle. And one of the Halloween episodes, he dresses up as Captain Mal, which I thought was funny. And he said in an interview, it was actually like they went back and got costumes from the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yes. So I thought that was funny.
Castle is another show that I watched the first couple seasons of and then gave up on.
I really enjoyed that one. I watched it longer than you did.
A lot. I give up on shows. I gave up on Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah. And she gets me hooked. And
yes, I do.
She watches the first few seasons and gives up, and then I'm like hooked and watch the rest.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Blake Mysteries was not a show that I got sick of. I watched everything I could get my hands on and then restarted. Anyway, we're not too culture consumed, sorry. You got an acquisition.
I did.
I really like this color. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at her acquisitions.
So my acquisitions this week are fiber. So I've been packing up fiber packs for felting. Okay,
the black has these like rainbow sparkle, well, not quite sparkles, but oh, that's awesome.
Here.
I want it. Spin me some of that.
I don't love spinning it.
No.
It looks really cool. My hands are so dry. So it's black merino.
It's amazing.
With rainbow trilobal nylon.
So, I should make like
it looks
mitts.
It looks
thrummed mitts. I should have like these things.
It would work well for thrums. It looks really cool if you spin it up. You get like just that shimmeryness. So it's black but shimmery. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. So anyway, so I've been doing.
Maybe I'll spin. No.
I've been doing little fiber packs because we've been having a lot more felters in the store lately. So a lot of them don't want 100, like I do 100-gram packs for spinning fiber, lots of breed studies and stuff. But I wanted to do some little ones for people who want just a small amount of color. So
I like this one.
Got some greens, and this was just kind of earthy tones. This one's my skin color pack.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Skin tones. 5 different skin tones.
Okay.
You're a little paler than that.
I'm
but
the paler than the pale one. I was thinking this one looked kind of like me because it was pinky, but not quite.
I didn't have...
This just happened to be the brown she had.
Yeah, and the paler... Like, I did have a paler one that I wanted to include, but it was too creamy white. Like, it was too on the yellow side. So...
Yeah. But...
Yeah. So that was my acquisition. I've still got... some purples and blues, so I'll do some mixed packs of those. But
yeah, and we're gonna have some of those at the Fibre Fest.
Yeah,
you knew we'd bring it up.
Yeah,
okay.
Fibre Fest.
Fibre Fest. Ah! We're getting. It's fun. We have rejigged. We did our little map of where everybody's gonna go and made sure all our vendors fit and had walls if they needed it and everything, and that just kind of got us excited. Yeah. And Lou did. Graphics pack for our vendors, so I know a few of them have already posted. I mean, it's still 3.5 months away.
She was mocking me for doing this and wanting to get it done, and she was like, it's really early.
2.5 months away.
You don't have to do it this early.
2.5 months away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, 3 people posted that night using the graphics I sent out. And I was like, see, other people are thinking about it too.
Yeah.
So I'm not for.
Yeah, no, me either. So we're gonna have a Fibre Fest Cowl.
Yes.
So we're gonna start it right now. We decided
like
right
tonight.
Right before. Well, because we have these plans for a cowl, but we don't want to start it until after the Fibre Fest because it's gonna take a little bit of planning
to get it going.
Yeah, and work to get it going, and we have enough on our plates right now between work and Fibre Fest and but so. The Peace Fibre Fest Cowl, you can, it goes from now until April 28th, which is the day of the fest. And you can use a yarn from one of our vendors, or a pattern designed by one of our vendors.
And almost all of the vendors have online shops, like either on Etsy or their own websites, and lots of them might be ones that you already have, or can order from if you want.
Yeah, or use one of their designs. Yeah, and so it can be something you have already started, because, you know, we didn't mention it.
Yep.
So if you have something started with yarn from one of them, awesome.
Or one of their designs. Lots of people have a cozy.
You have a cozy up design on the go. But
as long as it's not done already.
Yeah.
You have to at least 50%? Be still knitting on it.
Yes. And we'll open a thread on Ravelry.
Yeah.
And so finished products, whatever. Post a picture.
Yeah.
Right? And if you happen to be coming to the Fibre Fest and you come to our booth and show us whatever it was you knit, you'll get an extra draw.
Yeah. Mention it. Mention it just because we're going to be crazy. Well, we are crazy, but we're going to be extra crazy that day. So if you bring a project that you knit from a pattern or yarn from one of our vendors, mention it to us when you come to our booth, and you'll get an extra draw, or an extra ticket into the draw for a prize for that KAL.
Yeah. So now we are going to put up a card with the name of all our vendors.
Yes. So we're going to pause here for a second.
Put it, you don't have to you don't have to madly scribble them all down. We'll also put it in the
show notes.
Doobly-doo.
Promise. So if you're watching, lots of people don't know, if you're watching on a computer, it's really obvious. The notes are right below the video. If you're watching on like a phone or a mobile device of some sort, you have to scroll way down and then say show more to see those notes.
Not way down, but anyway.
It's a fair bit down.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, if you want to see the show notes,
they'll be there, so you can
We will actually do show notes.
Yeah.
Promise.
They were there last time.
I know.
We did them.
I think I did them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, late.
Okay. Here is the plate for the vendors you can use for patterns or yarns for the Peace Fibre Fest KAL.
You gotta pause it. Okay.
We're
support
back.
them. Or come support them at the Fibre Fest. That works too.
Speaking of the Fibre Fest, there's been a lot of, not speaking of the Fibre Fest,
yeah,
but this ties in, my example ties into the Fibre Fest. So there's been a lot of important conversations happening about race and visibility and privilege in the social media online, especially on Instagram, but also on podcasts and stuff. So we wanted to mention quickly a few things about that. So we've already said, like on our Instagram account, we have always strived to make our spaces a very open and welcoming space, whether that's for religious people having a prayer meeting, or whether that's trans kids coming and needing a safe space, like whatever it is. And so we wanted to say, despite having kind of made the effort to make it a welcoming space, we also want to be more proactive, because that's part of the conversations that have been happening. We recognize our privilege.
Yes,
and so
very much so.
So next year for the Fibre Fest, what we're going to do, we had done some bursaries this year, but next year we're going to actually set aside a few of those bursaries specifically for people of color or other visible minorities. I can't speak, sorry. Other visible minorities. So if anybody wants to vend, but finances are keeping them away from applying, there'll be a little extra funding for that. So if you know anyone who's interested, keep an eye out for the Fibre Fest next year, and we'll do other things that are just a bit more proactive in the future. So yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I just thought they're important conversations, and you don't want to just gloss over them.
Yes,
so
very much so.
Yeah.
So
but
that's the end of our knitting content?
I think so. I think we're on to... So you might pet some yarn some more. Yeah. But let's... Do you want to go to Culture Consumed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You want to start? Because you have a bit more culture than me.
Do I? I'm more cultured?
I've been starting books and not finishing them. I started a couple new TV shows.
I was going to say, I did that too, because I started...
Excuse me.
A few years ago, I read Thomas Grenius' Atlantis Revealed. And
is that the first one?
Yeah, loved it. And it's ridiculous, and, you know, suspend disbelief the minute you start reading it. But then we got the third one in, and I had read the second one as well. And I got the third one in and thought, I'm going to read this. And I took it home and I was like,
why are they here? What are they doing?
I think I need to reread the second one. So we actually had an omnibus that had the first 2 in it. So I took it home and started reading the first one again. So I'll read the whole series. But so it's Thomas Grenius and it's ridiculous pseudoscience about Atlantis being in the caves under Antarctica. Like, it's under Antarctica. It's fabulous and ridiculous.
I think I originally introduced it to you because I read the back of it and I was like, it's
this
like,
would appeal to you.
You'll love this. So, yeah.
A lot of books I've started reading because friends have done, like Steve Alton was...
you have to read about the giant prehistoric shark or whatever bag
Krista mentioned that one to me.
Yes.
If you've seen the movies, the previews for Meg, the movie, it's based on a Steve Alton book, and I kind of have to watch it just to see how close it is from the book.
You do.
I love a good shark movie.
A good one. Well, no, you even like Sharknado.
Yes, but that's a farce. It's a good farce. It's not a good shark movie.
Okay, because we have watched a tried to watch a terrible shark movie.
Your actor obsession.
Yes, okay, so I've mentioned this a couple times, but I tend to, what I do is I watch something, I decide I like an actor in it, and then I go watch a bunch of other things
Everything they've done.
Not always. Like, I am not going to watch Ash versus Evil Dead or whatever the hell it's called. So one of them was John Barrowman from Torchwood. Yeah. And he was in, I can't even remember what it was called. It was some stupid shark movie. And it was terrible. It was
badly
written. She didn't even get through it.
I couldn't get through it.
It was terrible.
Like, the writing was super scripted and super simple. Like, it felt like a kid had written some of the dialogue. It was weird.
Terrible. Yeah. But this time, okay, so I've mentioned Dr. Blake a few times. I really like it. I've gotten a little obsessed. I found the Blake Mysteries movie, which is like set 3 years after the end. So the only thing we haven't watched now is the telemovie that kind of finished up the series, which was which was the wedding one. Yeah, we couldn't get a hold of it. So someday, but yeah, and I've rewatched it. But so I really like Joel Tobeck, who plays Lawson. I was like, what's his name? The superintendent. So I went looking to see what else he's been in, and there were many things I will not watch.
Hercules. Young Hercules.
No, both.
Okay.
I might get to the Xena Hercules and Young Hercules world someday. Probably not. But I
think they'd be hard to rewatch now.
Oh, I'm sure they'd be terrible, but they would be like, hey, it's that actor. Yeah. Like Dino Gorman. He was I was about to say again that he was a hobbit. No, he was a dwarf in The Hobbit. But I will not watch Ash versus the Evil Dead or Sons of Anarchy. But he was in a Australian TV show from a few years ago called Tangle, which I found it on.
He was also in Lord of the Rings, wasn't he?
Yes, but we already discussed that last time.
Right.
Okay. Oh wow, that means it's been at least 4 weeks since we started watching Dr. Blake.
Did I mention she's rewatching?
I've rewatched a few times. No, I've rewatched a few times. But anyway, he's in this TV show called Tangle, which is all about the very tangled lives of these two families. Like, I was telling her all about it.
Convoluted. Tangled.
Very interesting though. I enjoyed it, but a lot of it has to do with infidelity, which is one of my
no-goes.
Yeah, I don't enjoy reading books or watching TV shows or whatever about infidelity. Yeah. Just because there's too many books.
Yeah.
It's like every book. Anyway, I
don't know if you guys can hear the noise in the background, but
no, they can't.
It's there's people upstairs and it's very loud.
The Masons Hall is upstairs, and they come in for their meetings and stuff, and it's like thump 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 thump. Look, I'm making the camera go.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what it feels like.
That's what our ceiling is doing.
Yeah, yeah, and they drag tables, and it'll be like knit night, and people are like, "What is going on up there?" Like, that's just the Masons. But yeah,
Joel Tobeck, Tangled.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I don't know that I'll watch all of it, But yeah. And then there was some other show. Oh, and I started watching The Royals on Crave, which is kind of, it's a fictional, like it's the British royal family, except it's a total, like it's not.
It's a fictional
It's
royal
a fictional
family.
British royal family. And it's got, I can't remember his name, but he played William in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, yeah.
His name is William something.
Yeah.
And he played William. And now in Royals, he plays Liam. And yes, and he was the younger brother, and then his older brother dies in the first episode, so it's...
Now he's going to be king.
And it's another one of... everybody's sleeping with everyone, and... But yeah, it was very interesting.
You watch a lot of that for somebody who hates it.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of it.
Yeah, there is.
So, but yeah.
I found some new podcasts.
You did?
Okay, so one of them is really funny because it's called Sweet Tea No Shade, and I know some of you watch it, but it's really fun.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's these two guys, they're married, and the one taught the other how to knit, but didn't really enjoy knitting himself. He just did it because somebody was crafting and he needed something to do at the same time. But then he picked up Portuguese knitting when he hurt his wrist and his thumb, and he actually enjoys knitting a lot more now. So now they're podcasting, but it's not mainly the one guy. They're actually both sharing, and it's a lot of fun. They're funny. They're a little snarky and you know, that kind of sense of humor. And one of the guys looks so much like our friend Brian, and he even laughs like him.
She said that, and I looked, and I'm like, he doesn't look anything like him.
Yeah. No, when
I guess
when his beard is trimmed right, like because it hides the chin is very different, but when his beard is trimmed right, he looks just like Brian did.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of funny, and it's a fun podcast. And like, he was a new knitter when they started podcasting, like 3 months into knitting, and he was knitting socks, and then he knit a sweater, and like, yeah. It's kind of cool. It's somebody who wasn't afraid to try new things, and someone who doesn't do new at all.
Oh, come on. Your first knitting project was a lace shawl.
Okay, but I'm not very adventurous. Like,
that's true.
I saw it as skipping a stitch and just wrapping the yarn was a simpler version, so it was not a more complicated.
Okay.
And I figured I could count to 7.
Apparently not.
Don't take that as a given just because you can do it when you're not knitting.
No.
But I got it in the end. But yeah, that one was really fun. Sweet Tea No Shade, and they're in North Dakota, but they're both from the South. The one guy's from Georgia, and the other is from
somewhere
Iowa, Ohio.
I'm like, neither of those are South.
No, but he's either from Iowa or Ohio, or like somewhere in the Midwest.
Ohio is like right below Calgary.
Yeah, but
I don't know where Iowa's in the middle.
Corn country, yeah, it's Midwest. Anyway, he's from...
Actually, it's more east than I thought. I was looking at a map the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's not South.
He might also be from Texas. I don't know.
Ohio, Iowa, or Texas?
I just meant they were both from more southern states.
But Iowa's not. Okay. Ohio's on the border.
Okay.
She does not know U.S. geography.
No. I know the East Coast really well.
I know the West Coast.
But the middle is mostly the middle.
See, I know Ohio because my grandfather was born there, and we went through there on our epic trip down to California.
Yeah. Anyway, they're in North Dakota now.
Yes, which is over here.
Geography by Cindy. See this hand I'm holding off screen? This is Iowa.
Sorry, when she annoys me, I try to lick her. It's weird.
It's gross.
Well, my other culture consumed is these.
They're fabulous.
Okay, so one of our regulars today dropped off a bunch of these uppercase magazines. They are like art magazines, and they are so cool, and they have all these neat little articles and art, and I know it's so cool, stories about artists and stuff. And basically like she gets them, she is an artist and she gets them for like inspiration and stuff, but I just started like just flipping through one and then I stopped and I'm like went back and like read everything. Yeah. There is no ads.
Yeah. And it's a thick magazine. Like it's over 1/4 of an inch.
And I mean, it's expensive, but that's okay. It's worth it.
Yeah. Well, and especially with no ads, the price makes sense.
Yeah, but oh, it's just so cool. So today I spent some time, it was quiet today at work and I was feeling lazy.
Slacking.
I was slacking, but I was reading some of the things and getting some inspiration.
They're really cool.
They're really cool.
And like they're themed. Yeah. But, like, so, you know, one is all about lettering. So there's artists who do like, signage and artists who do calligraphy.
And then, and like, oh, this one is real cool.
Fonts created based on the guy.
Yeah, okay, the guy who created the Pride flag. Yeah, he passed away. And so people designed a font based on the flag. I just thought that was so cool. And just, it's got stories about people who do lettering and...
Yeah, and the tools of lettering.
Yeah, and it's just... It's so cool. I've already learned so much from them.
Yeah. I really like, there was one, it's the CMYK issue. So cyan, magenta, yellow, and black are the 4 colors that you use to do everything on the internet and in print and printing. And so in here, there's like, everything is about color. But so there are, what I found fascinating was I remember these honey jars.
Okay.
Sorry. This is Classic Canadiana.
Yeah, it's a Canadian magazine too.
I didn't know that. I hadn't seen that page. Yeah. But so in this one, there's a section on like inks, like the fact that magenta dye was discovered by someone trying to find a cure for malaria. And then found that the ingredients created this dye in magenta colors. Or like that there's a company that has like a filter to put over your exhaust, and
that one was so cool.
Bio ink, like bio waste ink, or not bio waste.
Yeah, like it filters out the particles in your exhaust. Yeah, and then they make ink out of it.
Yeah, so like a standard pen refill was 45 minutes worth of diesel.
From a diesel engine. Yeah.
Yeah,
like so cool, and then like there's an article about this woman who basically taught herself and got taught a bit, but how to use like the big printing presses and stuff, and now has this company that does like smaller print, like arty print runs for like, usually these big presses are only used like by huge advertising campaigns and things like that, but she does cool like smaller print runs in like for Seattle bands, and it's just cool. And she named her press Girly Press because at that time she was like one of the only women running one of these big presses. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, so cool. The big presses are really rare. Like in Canada, for the company I used to work for, we used to print brochures for this one program, and we'd print them like in the millions because it was Canada-wide and huge. And there were only 2 presses in Canada that could handle the width of brochure we needed. So, like, the big presses are rare.
Yeah. And they're kind of dangerous. So, yeah. But, yeah. Anyway, so I am going to spend some time going through these and being inspired and stuff.
And educated and...
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. I love interesting things. Yeah. So...
oh, this one there's whole sections on hand-painted maps and stuff.
Yeah, and this one actually had a word that I really, really liked. Oh. Schwellenangst. It's
probably
a German... Schwell, yeah. A German word meaning the fear of crossing a threshold or embarking on something new. So...
I often have Schwellenangst.
I will get over my Schwellenangst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and every kind of art and craft, and like, there's one that has a whole bunch on bookbinding, and there's a like, really cool weaver. There's in like one of them,
rug hooking, street art, clothing designers, like everything. This one has paper folding, paper cutting.
Oh yeah. Anyway, they're really cool magazines. Yeah. So I am going to read all these ones that she gave to us, and then and I don't know if I'll get it again because that's kind of expensive. Yeah, for me.
But it'll be fun to share with our crafty ladies.
$18 Canadian.
Yeah.
But it has a lot in it, and it's worth that. Unlike a lot of magazines.
Yeah, where half of it is ads.
Getting magazines because more than half of it's ads. Yeah. So, yeah,
they're very cool.
Yeah,
they're very cool.
So, and they're very colorful.
Yeah.
And even, okay, you know the stupid subscribe cards that are in every magazine?
You took them all out.
They're over there. Shall I grab them?
Yeah.
Okay.
The subscription cards were so cool. We took them out to keep them. Yeah, they were fun. And oh, this is just a... Oh, that's the one I kept. Where's the others?
In here.
Okay.
This one's just a...
That's the fabrics. So all the spines on these magazines have these, they're all unique, but they're cool little patterned spines. And
so the subscription card in each one is related to that spine pattern.
Yeah. And they do, this one actually talks about Wyndham fabrics, and they've created fabrics based on all these spines.
Oh,
and they're
so
packs
cool.
based on these spines. Which
Yeah.
is really cool. Like,
yeah, so I got some neat little pattern cards that I'm going to use for something arty.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
and I'm keeping this one because one of the patterns looks like I could weave it. And I want to keep it as an idea when I get my loom set up.
Yeah, and it just has, oh, these are the fabrics.
Yeah.
Or that's one of the packs of
Love
fabrics.
this one. It's based on old signs, like old wooden signs, and it's a postcard on the back. And
it's really, really cool magazine. So I am pretty impressed with it. Yeah. That is my culture consumed, because I really have just been kind of starting books and going, meh. Everybody was telling me how amazing Educated by Tara Westover is.
It sounded fabulous.
Everybody was talking about it. And we got a copy in. So I was like, I'm going to take it home. I'm going to take it home and read it tonight and then bring it back and, you know, call the lady who's looking for it. And I got about halfway through and went, nah, it's okay. I've read some other ones that are similar but better. So, yeah.
Well, it sounded like a shocking...
Yeah.
Like the way it was described to us, I think made it sound more of a shocking contrast.
Yeah, the way it was being talked about in media and stuff. And I think that's because like they're talking about how she lived, like her family lived as survivalists and
they were off the grid, and
actually they lived a lot like some of the families around this area.
Yeah.
So it was just a little more sad than shocking to me. Yeah. So yeah, I think it would be a lot more shocking to someone growing up in a big city and, yeah, not knowing, you know, not being used to people hoarding in case of the apocalypse. Yeah. But yeah, and so I gave up on that, and yeah, so this is a bad time of year for me, and this
sad books aren't a good, yeah.
Well, and it just, like, I can't concentrate on anything, and yeah you know.
Light and fluffy and short
are
good.
So I'll read my arty magazines, and they're full of color, and that's lovely. Yeah. And I'll knit my gray shawl.
Oh, but it's a pretty gray. That's not a sad, dark gray.
It's so soft. Yeah. And it's fun cables, which I do with a meat thermometer.
I think we might have to call this episode the meat thermometer knitting.
No.
Or knitting with a meat thermometer. Yeah.
No. See, my cable needle are in here, maybe.
And you left this bag here?
Yeah, or maybe in here. I just use, I just use random things for cable needles
DPNs
anyway.
Mostly.
DPNs, yeah. Oh, I've got a shawl stick in here that I've used as a cable needle.
Hey, that's my shawl stick.
Oh, I have one like it too, so. I've often used smaller needles. Yep.
What's the, saying? Creativity is the mother of invention? Or necessity is the mother of invention.
Necessity is the mother. So, meat thermometer cable knitting.
Yep. It's a thing. It's a thing. Not a thing to be embarrassed about. That's from Liz, too.
That's from Liz. This is awesome.
Yeah. I think that's it.
I think that's
the only other thing I've done or watched is my eyelids and a bit of hockey. And nobody wants to hear recaps of hockey or of my dreams. Because weird. So, yeah.
Yeah, weird dreams. Yeah. Actually, last night I dreamt that I was working. And then I woke up and I was like, now I have to go to work. I already worked today. And it was annoying people.
Poor Cindy.
I'm really tired though.
Here.
This took energy. I'll
have
a pack of hug.
I have his butt in my face. On that note, I think we'll leave you. See ya.
Pack a hug.